What's up, guys? My name is Sonny. Everybody just calls me the Badger. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And as you can see, I have a lot of videos in the past. I did daily vlogs, I did everything, but I'm starting a new series this year, and it is all about maintaining and working on your Harley Davidson Softail. Pre-M8, V-twin. Also have an Evo in the house, so I'm going to be doing some videos on that. But I have a couple of high mileage bikes, and I get a lot of questions about how I keep them going. So this series is basically going to cover from head to toe everything I do to maintain my vehicles. This first one is about changing the oil. One of the simplest things to do, one of the most important things to do, and I'm going to show you guys a quick, I would say how to, but it's more of a how I, because I am not a licensed Harley Davidson mechanic. I'm not even a trained Harley Davidson mechanic. I used to be an automotive mechanic. That's where a lot of my tools come from, and I just buy whatever specialty tools I need to do the work on my bikes. But I am not trained, so do not take this as this is how you should do it, but this is how I do it. So let's get this first video kicked off. Pretty simple one. We're going to change the oil. I'll tell you what tools you need. I'll tell you what oil I use. I'll tell you the whole thing. And at the very end, if you stick around, I'll tell you how you can get all your oil changes for free. And as somebody that rides a lot of miles on a couple of bikes, I change the oil a lot. So free oil changes, that's worth some money for me. But anyway, let's get this video kicked off. Here we go. Alright guys, first things first, let's talk tools. What tools are you going to need to get your oil changed on your motorcycle? So I have in the garage, I have a 2005 CVO Fatboy. It has the 103. I also have a 2005 Fatboy that has the 88. Both of them take the exact same tools to do this job. So first off, the oil drain plug. So the oil drain plug is a 5/8 socket, 5/8 ratchet. That is what I use. They also, I'm not sure if it's an Allen or a star key that can also drain the oil, but I just use a 5/8. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I'll show you here in a minute. Then you're going to need some way to get the oil filter off. So I have 3 different choices. You just got to figure out which one works best for you. One thing you'll notice is I use all the simplest tools. You'll notice it's not my bike that I'm getting ready to change oil on. It's not up on a motorcycle lift. I'm not even going to use my motorcycle jack because I don't need to. And what I found is by the time I get the thing up on the jack or up on the rack, I can have the oil changed. It's that quick. But anyway, you're going to need to remove an oil filter. So there's the solid style oil filter wrench. Takes a 3/8 drive back there. There's the oil filter strap. This works just as good as this does. And then number 3, this is also kind of like that, except this one expands. I don't know if you can see that with the light, but it adjusts to the size, so you just you release it. So those are your 3 different options that I have for an oil filter wrench on this. And then if you used like the K&N oil filter, it actually has a nut on the back where you can use a socket. But those are 3 different choices as far as the tool goes. And then you're going to need some kind of oil drain pan. Probably going to need a short oil drain pan. I use this one here. That'll slide underneath the bike if you're not lifting the bike up at all. So that's it. You'll probably want a funnel to fill the oil back up, although I don't use one. You may want one. That's it, guys. That's all the tools you need to perform an oil change on your twin cam. So let's get it changed. Alright, so now that you know what tools you need, let's get this party started. So the very, very first thing you got to do is you don't want to change the oil with the engine cold. So you want it to be hot. Guess what that means? You get to go for a ride. Now, if I could start all my jobs out with going for a ride, how could you hate that? Anyway, go for a ride, get your bike all warmed up, nice and hot, and then bring it in, and this is what we'll do next. All right, guys, let's get this oil changed. if you want to know where the drain plug is. So here, of course, is your oil. And if you go directly below that, and you look under here, we're going sideways, you're going to see right there is your drain. That's a 5/8. You're just going to pull that 5/8 out and let the oil drain out of it. Let's get that done. We'll move on to the next thing. All right, we got the oil draining. All right, guys, so while the oil is draining, and I don't get in any hurry, so I just let it drain. I can do other things like the oil filter, which we're getting ready to tackle next. But I wanted to show you this. This is your oil drain plug. I don't know whether you guys can see that or not. But anyway, on the very tip of this oil drain plug, that is a magnet. So if you have any metal shavings on that magnet, you have an issue. So you definitely want to check that. Mine is nice and clean. That's a good sign. Then the other thing is, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see this or not, there's an O-ring around the base of that. And that O-ring, mine looks to be in pretty good shape, but the kit I buy from Amsoil comes with a new O-ring, so you might as well replace it. I look at them, inspect them. If they don't need replaced, I don't replace them. So I have a whole stack of them in my toolbox because I just don't replace them every time I do my oil change. But do as I say, not as I do. You should probably do that. Anyway, let's get the oil filter draining and we'll get this knocked out in no time. Guys, so the next on the list is the oil filter. That, of course, is down here right in the front of the motor. I'm going to set you up here. Hopefully you'll be able to still see once I get you situated. All right, so I showed you the 3 different options. I'll show you on here as well. So first option just slides directly on. I don't know whether you can see that. I don't think you can. So the first option just slides right on the end of the filter. And then you just put your 3/8 in there, bada bing, bada boom, done. The third option, which I showed you, same thing. That just goes over your filter and you can take it off. The old school option is the wrench. And you can literally just take it, put it on like this, and loosen your filter. Hard to do when you're holding the camera with one hand, but as you can see, it's turning. Easy peasy, pull it off. Filter's loose. If you'll notice, I just take a little lid. There's not a whole lot of oil in that filter, so I take a lid, put it under there, and I just let it start slowly draining. You'll see it running down there. It'll drain down into there. Easy peasy. Now, they make a specialty, I guess you would call it a tool. You can slide up underneath your oil filter and it helps guide that oil to where you want it to be and makes less of a mess. But as you can see, if you don't turn it off at a high rate, it kind of has its own little tunnel here. Runs down, drips into the pan. Like I said, I don't get in a big hurry, so I'll let that drain for a little bit, then we'll pull it out. Put our new one in, fill it up with oil. It's that simple. But first off, we're going to give this a little time to drain. Here we go. Well, while I'm letting that all drain, I might as well get my Amsoil kit open. Anyway, remember me telling you how you could get free oil changes? Well, I'm an Amsoil dealer. You can also be an Amsoil dealer, or you can be a preferred customer or just a normal customer. But as an Amsoil dealer, that means that other people can be dealers underneath me and they can basically sell AMSOIL, which is what I do. And there'll be a link in the video below where you can click and get your AMSOIL. But if you sign up as a dealer, then everybody you know can use AMSOIL, and as they use AMSOIL, of course, you get paid for that. And once you've built that up a little bit, guess what? You don't have to pay for your oil because you're making money, and that pays for your oil changes. So remember me telling you could get free oil changes? That's how I get free oil changes. I don't pay, I pay for oil, but then I get paid, so I don't pay for oil. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's one of the reasons that I choose AMSOIL over the competitors. I've said it before and I'll say it again. In all honesty, I believe all oils are pretty equal, although the silver bike that I'm working on right now has 200,000 miles on it. Mama Badger's bike, the one behind it with the 88 motor, has 125,000 miles on it. So I will say this much. I've traveled all over the country, and AMSOIL has done me pretty freaking good, I would say. Anyway, remember me telling you about that O-ring? I don't know if you can see it or not, but right there. It's taped to the box. So every oil change kit comes with the O-ring. It, of course, also comes with your new filter. Put a little oil on that when you put it back in. Will save you headache in the long run. And then it comes with your 2050 synthetic oil, which is what I run. Every 5,000 miles is what Harley recommends you change it. That is what I change it. Sometimes I go a little bit over that, but I never worry about it because AMSOIL is actually designed to go longer than 5,000 miles. So I'm out on the road and I can't get an oil change right then. I'll just run it a little bit long. Anywho, hopefully this is drained enough now. We're going to change out this filter, put that drain plug back in, fill it up with oil, and call it good. All right, so when I opened my oil change kit, none of my other kits had ever come with this, but it had an envelope in it, just like this, and it said thank you, and it said tools you may need. So this is pretty neat. You guys see I have gloves on. I learned this back as an automotive mechanic. It's just easier to peel off than have to go wash my hands all the time. I don't have a sink out here. But anyway, in that little envelope, they sent a funnel. That's pretty cool. And they actually sent gloves. So you'll have gloves in the kit to do the oil change, so you don't have to go buy a box of them. I have boxes of them here because I do so much work. But anyway, just a nice little add-on. Another reason to get your AMSOIL oil change kit. Alright, I think it's drained enough. It shouldn't make too big of a mess. So I'm just going to unscrew it the rest of the way. Like so. Yeah, I'm not really. Pull my filter out. Set it down over there where it can drain in a pan. I actually have a pan that lets me drain, which is where that lid's from. So I use the lid to catch the oil, and I use the pan to hold my filters. Anyway, remember how I said to put some oil on it? So I'll just take my finger, dip it in the old oil there, and I will put just a little bit of oil on there. Put the filter on. Only supposed to go hand tight with this filter. Now, I personally do not feel like I can get my hand on that enough to make it tight enough as much as I travel. So I actually, remember, do as I say, not as I do. I actually usually use the strap, and I put it on just a little bit tighter. Don't go cranking it down. You'll never get it back off. But a little tighter, never hurt anybody. Anyway, that's it. Filter's changed. We'll go put the drain plug in, fill it up with oil. And that, my friends, is the oil change. So, you're going to ask, how many quarts of oil does it hold? Because I get that question a lot. Here's what I do. I put 2 quarts in it. I start it, I run it, and then I check it. And then I adjust accordingly. Usually it's about 2 3/4 quarts to fill it up. But, like I said, put 2 in it, fire it up, let the oil circulate, let it get in the filter, and then check it again, and then fill to the fill line. That is the best advice that I can give you. Anywho, we're going to get this done. We'll see you in a few. All right, guys, quick tip. I would call it a pro tip, but as I said, I'm not a pro, so we're going to call it a bro tip. Anyway, when you pull off your oil filter, make sure that the old O-ring is on the oil filter. Sometimes they will stick to the motor, and then you just throw on the other filter, right? And the two, in this case, two is not better than one. The two gaskets will not make a good seal. You'll fire it up and it'll spray oil everywhere and you'll have a mess to clean up. So make sure that the old rubber gasket is still on the old filter before you put the new filter on. Just a quick bro tip, it'll save you a lot of mess. Anyway. All right, we're going to put the drain plug back in, and this part might be a little controversial. So, get you a Harley Davidson manual. I have one, but it'll tell you how tight to torque this. Now, I've been doing oil changes on vehicles and bikes for a really, really long time, and I probably should, but I don't ever use torque specs on my drain plug. I just get it good and tight. I can tell you this, after 200,000 miles on this silver bike, I've never had my oil plug leak or fall out, so I must be doing it right. Anyway, oil drain plug's in. Now we're going to put a couple quarts of oil in it, start it up, check it, fill it up to where it's supposed to be, and that is it, guys. There you go. That's like the first video in this series, but I'm going to try to keep things really simple, really easy. Over the next couple weeks, you're going to see the primary video come out. You'll also see the transmission video come out. We're going to change the fork oil. We're going to change the brake fluid. We're going to do brakes. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to do. And then I also have the project of the 99 that'll also be starting here soon. So if you're interested in kind of learning a little bit about twin cams from a non-expert that does all of his own work in his own garage but has really high mileage bikes, then you have found the right channel. Hit that subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video, and we cannot wait to see you next time. Yeah, the other question you might have is, how do I clean up any mess that I've made? So I always use brake clean. It cleans about everything. It dries really fast, doesn't leave any kind of residue. It is great stuff. It's how I clean out my oil pans and all when I'm done. I'm pretty particular about my shop, so that is what I use. It works great. Now, I've got it filled up with oil. Oil filter's on. I'm going to fire this bad boy up. Then we'll check and see how much more I need. And that's it. Guys, you have now, if you followed along with this, you have now done a complete oil change on your bike. How cool is that?